It was time to start laying the wood floor. I brought the load up to the cabin a couple weeks prior so it would have time to acclimate. We were using 6-inch tongue and groove unfinished white pine, and we would be installing it in the living room, hallway, and the bedroom. As I mentioned before, we had to sand the subfloor due to the uneven seams because of the exposure to the weather last year.
Because the TV is bigger than the one I have at home. Because it doesn't remind me of my home at all. And my home...
The well pump still hadn't been installed, and we were continuing to haul our own water up from home. Our kitchen drain was a 5-gallon bucket under the sink. I finally finished attaching the brick around the wood stove, but I still had to apply mortar in the gaps of all the bricks. I'm going to ask for your help on this one. Put down in the comments what you think this is. My first thought was a fox, but keep in mind these facts. In the nearly 30 years I've owned this property, I've never seen a fox. Although the camera's night vision distorts things somewhat, it appears the animal's legs are shorter than a fox, and the ears seem to be not as pointy as a fox's ears. My next thought is a marten, but to the best of my knowledge, this is not the type of forest the pine marten likes. It'd be very interesting to get your opinion. The boards were all installed in the living room and hallway. Now we just had the bedroom to do. It was looking like I was going to have to build a tool shed at some point in the future to put all this stuff in. We started getting a pretty good downpour. Which made us realize we were also getting a pretty good leak in the chimney. After it stopped raining, I climbed up on the roof and found that the cheap chimney caulking that I used was all dried up and cracking. So I scraped it all off and used a high-grade caulking that solved the problem. It's held up well even to this day. I learned something about the thunderstorms up here. In the near future, I would find out that they get much more intense than this one was. I almost get regular visits from the bobcats these days. They seem to enjoy hanging out on my deck. These two older kittens took some time out to play as they waited for their mom to show up. All that stuff that was in the bedroom got moved into the living room, and we were ready to finish the last part of the wood flooring project. Once again, sanding and patching everywhere it needed it.
The last board and it won't go in.
I'll get it in.
What are you doing?
Playing a game?
Are you losing?
Not yet.
It's raining.
It's raining. What are you doing?
Playing a game.
It's raining.
No, it's not.
The early morning deer.
Breakfast.
He's breakfast?
Oh, he's eating breakfast.
In between the flooring project, I made the trim for the kitchen window so I could start the kitchen wall tiles. I rented a floor sander and I was really surprised how well and easy it worked. I almost didn't want to stop using it. A few boards had some voids where the knots were, so I filled them in with some wood putty and added some dark wood stain to blend them in. Then I started applying the polyurethane. It was also much easier than I thought it would be. I really enjoyed watching the deep wood grain come to life in each room.
You remember what time I started here?
About a half hour ago.
Finally, all the floors in the cabin were finished. It was time to move on to the next project.